something where I was just trying to think of, you know, how do I make this, or how do I make something out of this? So, you know, if you want to compare it to something, it's programming is honestly a lot like playing with Lego blocks. So you take all of the pieces together and you build little structures, or you build houses, or you build airplanes, or you kind of follow the directions and you build whatever's on the manual, or you can kind of just experiment and just put a bunch of things together and see kind of what comes out. So, you know, that's where my programming, my interest in programming started. You know, it continued all through high school, and you know, I went to Iowa State University. Their computer science program actually was really good, you know, and it's a local one that's in Iowa, so definitely be closer to your parents if you wanted to go there. The other thing of interest for Iowa State is they have this virtual reality system. So if you were going to try to get into programming video games, that would be a cool area to be in, and especially if you wanted to, you know, do that kind of stuff in the future. So, you know, something to remember for Iowa State University, even though you may like Iowa, Iowa State might be better for you. I graduated in 2004, and you know, after that, I just pretty much got jobs, and this is where I am now. My very first job was in Missouri, but then I moved back to Iowa, and this is where I've been ever since. So, you know, it's been a long, good journey though. Now, as far as like what my education has done for me, you know, going back to my experiences within 7th grade, you know, that was a big part of it. You know, just getting my hands on something that was just something that I could play with. You know, in the end, that's all it is when you are trying to find out, you know, something you like to do. Is it something that you like to do every day, and something that you can play with all the time? Then you know, through high school and stuff like that, I had a really good teacher who, you know, did a lot to keep my interest in programming. And then, you know, through college, you know, that just built up as well. You know, the classes, they have many classes to kind of keep your interest in different areas of the computer programming. So, you know, you don't necessarily have to concentrate on just writing stuff. You concentrate on the process to build and create things, because that's, in the end, that's really what you're doing. You're creating systems to help people out, or you're creating systems to help people, or systems that are just games for people to play in the end. So, you know, that is how my education helped me. And then, you know, as far as my work goes, I have a pretty flexible kind of schedule, honestly, which is really nice, because I have a son at home. He's 20 months old, so if he gets sick, you know, it's pretty easy for me to just take my laptop home, take my work home with me, and then just do it at home. So it's a really good profession to keep things balanced within your life. It's a really good profession to kind of just, if you need to, you know, just get your work done and then just come back to it later. So that's a really good aspect of it too. So trying to think of some fun things to tell you about computer programming. I told you about the virtual reality system in Iowa State. That's a really cool thing to kind of check out if you get a chance. I don't know if they have open houses, but you know, it'd be something to look at their website, maybe to investigate. You know, I want to say that not to dash anyone's hopes or anything like that, you know. I honestly started as a person who wanted to be a video game programmer. You know, I did the research on programs to go out there and do that kind of stuff, but most of them were either out in California or, you know, over on the East Coast. You know, I think one of them is Carnegie Mellon. But basically they were too far from home, too expensive for me. So, you know, if you don't get to go to a college that specifies in that, you know, it's nothing to be, you know, it's nothing to be sad about. You can get that kind of experience if you get the right job, honestly. So the thing that you have to concentrate after you get your education is getting that job that you want to get, so that you can get that experience. And, you know, honestly, after that experience has been established, it's pretty much downhill from there. You can find a job almost in any, you know, Des Moines is a really good place for IT or computer programmer jobs right now. So, you know, if I were to lose my job, I'd be pretty confident I'd pick up another one within a week or so.
So what does a typical day look like for you from 8 to 4 or whatever it is?
A lot of different things, actually.
Okay.
Sometimes I'm answering phone calls from people asking questions about my programs. You know, I want to say most of it is actually typing code. But otherwise, you know, it's mostly just trying to figure out what I need to do to get the end software product.
So you do get time to sit and create?
Yes.
So is that something you guys are interested in, you know, time to just sit and play with the computer and figure stuff out? Yeah, I know. Let me give you some questions. We prepared a few questions, if anybody wants to ask some. There's also some on that sheet you can pass around and ask too. So, does anybody have a question for Mr. Volk? Go ahead.
What are some things you created on the computer?
One of the first things I tried to create was a Pong game. So how many of you know what Pong is? Okay, for those of you who don't,
I don't. You guys know more than I do.
you know, Pong game is the two lines that you move up and down the sides of the screen, and then you have this little ball. It's kind of like tennis, except the electronic version of it. So honestly, that was one of the first computer programs that I wrote, because it involved a lot of complex logic, but it was simple enough to kind of do with just playing with it every once in a while. So, and I want to say I did that when I was in high school, honestly. So.
Pretty young.
Not really a question, but my dad works for American in IT,
Mm-hmm.
so he's teaching me how to program.
Very
That's
cool.
good. There's actually a lot of good stuff out there to teach you to program. And you had mentioned Scratch, and I think there's actually, I had heard there's something in this school going on that people are learning programming from Alice, which is one.
Hyperstream. Yep.
Which is one I've heard of actually as well. So maybe that's something
What's
to
Hyperstream?
look into.
It's an after-school tech club for 7th graders.
Oh.
Yep. So next year, if you're a 6th grader, it's down the road for you. So if you're let's say you're a 6th grader and you really don't know what computer programming is or how to get started, like in the simplest terms, what does that mean?
Actually, that kind of ties into what I wanted to show people.
Perfect. Hey Corinne, will you hit that first set of lights over there by the door? Thank you, ma'am. flip the other ones, switch it. There you go. Perfect. Now we can see.
Excuse me. So, this site was created by, or is hosted by Google, and it's called madewithcode.com. And what it has is, it has a bunch of examples that you can kind of go through to kind of see the different aspects of what coding is. The simplest one here is this Yeti program, and I'm hoping it's gonna load up.
So you get tasks and you get to make.
Well, what this does is it tells you what programming kind of is through just playing around with Yeti. So, you notice up here it says object, and then you have this big little tree thing that says Yeti. So what you do is you pull this over, plop it in, and you get a Yeti on the screen. Then the next thing you have in there is you have kind of this little panel that lets you customize what your Yeti looks like. And these kind of relate to the different, so the Yeti is the object. This relates to some of the settings that apply within that object that you can customize and just do different things with. So we'll drop this in here. I'll try to drop that in there. Let's see. And then we'll set up some of his properties. What color do we want to make them?
Orange.
Purple. Green.
So I hear three of them. I was gonna go with, there is no orange. Closest
Red.
one was yellow, I'll say. So we'll make them a yellow Yeti. And this one is going to be the color of his feet.
Purple.
Purple.
Red.
Okay. This number here is going to affect the size of his hands. So how big, do we want a
Huge.
big, medium,
Huge.
huge?
720.
Let's do 10, because I don't
10
think it goes up
million.
to 600.
That's a little too big, maybe. How about 100?
Oh, maybe it does. Let's try 100. Oh, there, he's got big hands. It goes up to 25. Okay, what size should his feet be then?
25.
25, big feet too? Let's see. Big feet. Okay, so the next part of it is it opens up this panel that you can tell it to do stuff. And these kind of relate to some of the commands in different computer languages that you say, you know, I want to add 2 plus 2, or I want to loop around and do this a bunch of times. So what's the first thing that we should probably have him enter first? Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
Okay, so the next options we have waves, head spins,
Head
dance.
spin.
You want him to do a head spin? And, you know, you have the exit as well. So what's the next thing we want him to do? Let's do
Dance.
dance. Let's throw in a wave. Anything else we want to throw in there?
Entrance and exit.
Throw in another head spin. We may have run out of room. Just
Okay, good.
all right. So let's just say that we're done. Play one and see what our little program, what our Yeti program does.